When you are walking through the Badlands, you can actually hear rattles shaking from rattlesnakes, and we actually had some locals tell us that we were brave to go hiking out there because of how many rattlesnakes there are. Back in Sioux City, Iowa, we had to make some decisions about our next steps because one of the slides in our trailer needed to be repaired. Clear back in the St. Louis area, we had a slide, our main slide, our biggest slide, get stuck, and I thought it was because I had overpacked, put too much weight on that slide, but I don't think that was the problem. We ended up having a subflooring issue where the subfloor cracked and we could not get the slide up and over the edge to pull it back in every time we traveled. So we needed to get it repaired. And as Joe was calling around to different places, what we discovered was it would be at least a 3-week wait just about anywhere that could take us. So that affected our travel plans, and we decided to take a little field trip over to the western side of South Dakota and see the Rapid City area. So we took a detour. We hit Wall, South Dakota first, and then we went to Rapid City. If you've ever been to South Dakota, you know that for hundreds and hundreds of miles, there are dozens, if not hundreds, of signs for Wall Drug. And we actually made reservations in Wall, South Dakota to stay. The owners offered us free tickets to a circus that night. So we took advantage of that. The kids had never been to a circus before, so Joe and I decided to go ahead and take them. And just as things were getting ramped up, a big storm blew through. The next day we visited Badlands National Park and took a 4-mile hike through the Badlands. Before we got out on our hike, we stopped at an overlook and just kind of took in the whole scene. After pausing at the overlook, we stopped at the visitor center and just affirmed our directions with the park ranger there and got some pointers, and then we took off for our hike. When you are walking through the Badlands, you can actually hear rattles shaking from rattlesnakes, and we actually had some locals tell us that we were brave to go hiking out there because of how many rattlesnakes there are. And they actually tell you at the visitor center that just to stay on the trail there because of the rattlesnakes. We didn't see any, but we did hear them periodically. There's just a sense of awe as you go through the Badlands. It's amazing.
So here we are at the Badlands National Park in South Dakota, and we just finished hiking. What was the name of the trail? Medicine Route Trail.
Yeah.
All right, so kids, what'd you think of the hike?
I liked it.
Sarah, what are your comments on the hike?
You have to have the right attitude going into it.
Amen, sister.
If you think this is just gonna be boring, it's just not gonna be fun, then it's not gonna be fun. You have to think it's enjoyable to have it be enjoyable. 1, I am dead. 2, I'm very hot. And 3, I would not wear long pants. Oh yeah, wear shorts.
Or wear breathable pants,
Light
because
color. Yeah.
the benefit of having pants is that you don't have the prairie grass whipping against your leg.
Gideon, how about you? What are your comments?
I think it was good.
It's 12:25 and it's 75 degrees outside.
Yeah.
We had a really nice breeze the entire walk, and so this could have been a lot different had it been 95 degrees outside.
Yes.
Yeah. Hannah, any thoughts on the hike?
The view was cool.
Wasn't the scenery awesome?
It was
Yeah, that was
It
amazing.
was great. You can see the layers and layers and layers and
Yeah.
evidence for the flood.
flood, yeah. This area of South Dakota is farther west and south than Lewis and Clark actually came. But one of the things that we got to see that Lewis and Clark actually wrote about in their journals was prairie dogs. Prairie dogs were a unknown species of animal at that point, and so in their journals they recorded the different sounds they made and their tunnel system and just their different observations from sitting and looking at a prairie dog town. And as we were passing through the Badlands, there was an opportunity to stop and feed prairie dogs.
So when we went to the prairie dog town, I thought it was really cool because I'm not really a big animal person, but it was really cool to see the prairie dogs pop out of the little holes, and people were feeding them, and they weren't shy at all. So you could go up to them, and if you got too close, then they'd run down into their hole. But it was just really cool to see them pop up and being so cool around people.
That's right. 2,000 miles of interstate and state highways advertising wall drug. We finally toured it today on a Sunday afternoon, and here's our family review. Who wants to go first? Sarah, what do you think of Wall Drug?
It was not worth all those signs. It was kind of, in the stores, they're all kind of the same thing. I was disappointed.
Very underwhelmed.
Hannah, you're underwhelmed. Anything else?
I forgot to say, the best thing I experienced there was the free ice water.
The free ice.
Free ice water.
And even that wasn't that good.
I did there was a little museum and it had a bunch of different
yes.
animals. It had a bunch of different stuffed animals and stuff. That was really cool. At first it just looks like a gift shop, but if you go back to the very back of it, then you can see there's a museum. So
That was probably my favorite part as well.
That's probably the best part of it.
Everything here's so expensive, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really expensive. The donuts, we got how many donuts?
Yeah, what was the price of the donuts,
Oh
Trisha?
man, we got a dozen donuts and it was $23.
That's almost $2 a donut.
Yeah, they had better be the best donuts known to man, because for that price, I could have bought at least 5 times that amount at Walmart.
So then we got to the ice cream. Kids, how did the ice cream look in there?
It looked just sloppy and melty and colorless and
So we're not typically a hard to please family, but this was a little disappointing.
I was really disappointed.
Yeah.
I mean, I had my hopes up since Iowa on Wall Drug.
So I'm almost to the top of Mount Harney Peak, and we got separated from Hannah, Izzy, and Gideon. So I'm desperately hoping that they are at the top waiting for us patiently and that they didn't take a different trail.
And also, here's a tip. If you have a little water bottle, it's very convenient. Have a nice little straw. But you have a big water bottle, bring the big
water bottle.
You know what I think?
What?
I think I play Pokemon Go every